Welcome back to Northwest City Politics in the Know with Juanita. We're glad that you're joining us again this week. We're always happy for people like you, people that are interested in what's happening in our cities. Because it is important for good government that the citizens and the city council and the mayors and the staff all keep in dialogue with each other so that people are keeping up with what's happening in their city and letting their elected officials know how they feel about things. So we're glad to have you with us. If you haven't watched our show before, we'll have someone on each week from one of the 9 cities in CCX's viewing area to tell us about what's happening in that city, what are the recent happenings, what are some of the up-and-coming happenings, to update you so that you'll know what's going on. And we will encourage you, if you live in that city, to take down the email and the phone number, so if any of the issues that we talk about really resonate with you, you can be in contact with your city council. Now, tonight we're very happy to have a return guest, Mayor Duane Poppe from Osseo.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've been on our show lots of times.
Yes.
We're always happy to have you on.
Well, thank you for having me.
And then help our people understand what's happening in Osseo.
Will do.
So I'll let you, because you already know that, tell people out there a little bit about yourself. The people that don't live in Osseo, let them know a little bit about your background.
Okay, well, I'm Duane Poppe, the mayor of the city of Osseo. I'm in my 3rd term now. Started on the council, we're the last odd year election, so it was a 3-year term. And then after that, then I was fortunate enough to be elected as mayor. And twice since then. So, but things are going well. We've lived in Osseo for a number of years now. I have my wife and then three kids that keep us pretty active with sports. And then my day job, as I do, is I'm the managing principal of a commercial real estate firm, Lee & Associates. So
that gives you a good background.
For for the development and everything else. So it keeps me busy.
Right. Now, talking about redevelopment now, you don't have any large projects going now, right?
Correct.
Okay.
We have nothing.
You've done a lot of work over the last few years.
Yeah, we did 8 development projects over the last couple of years, and all of ours are redevelopment. So I mean, we need some time to analyze them and figure out. And we just
definitely.
At the EDA meeting last night, we just approved a RFP, a request for a proposal to be sent out and saying, this is an area that we're thinking about redeveloping, and we're putting that out to certain developers to get ideas back to see really what the market will bear, because sometimes what your vision of an area and what the market will bear maybe not align. So we want to be able to kind of test it out there to see, okay, what can you realistically do here? What would that look like from a perspective from the city, and how would the city need to participate into making a project successful of something that we would like to see there.
Sure.
So we're just trying to gather that data right now and be able to formalize a plan that we'll be able to execute on over the next few years.
Well, and redevelopment is a process that takes a number of years to work its way through the system, right?
Yeah, you look at, when we did 5 Central, the big apartment project in town, there was, scattered site acquisitions of some homes that went back a number of years. And then, as the project got closer, then, we were a little more active in acquiring sites to try to get the thing put together. And that's going to be the same with, this next kind of, this next site, where we'll be able to kind of get a few key parcels initially, and then we'll kind of slowly work on, getting some more. Because it's always that balance with redevelopment is, you don't want to be too far out in front, because then you're taking parcels off the tax rolls and lessening your tax base, and then, or for future. So I mean, it's kind of a kind of a balancing act, there. So
now, you have an economic development authority, and all of our cities do, I think, because that's part of the process via the state legislature of how development moves forward. Can you explain to people what that group does and who's part of it?
Yep, the EDA, that has the council members on it, and then we have 3 citizens that are on it. So it gives a broader perspective, a resident and one business person, and then we have the chairman, who can be either a resident or a business owner. And So just again, trying to get more people from the community to again provide additional ideas, more,
right.
because I think always the best decision is made with the most broadest perspectives, heard and understood, and try to develop what's in the middle, and that's what we try to do in the EDA, and try to look at what's best for the city, and how can we promote the city, and basically go out and promote economic development for the city, and that's not only just building, that's doing other events or things,
Sure.
or to try to drive people, traffic, business, residents all into the city.
Oh, right. So businesses will stay because they have people coming and using their services,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, you need that part of it. Don't you think there has been a change over time? Because if you went back, in my memory, maybe 10, 15 years, there was sort of an emphasis on, well, let the businesses take care of that, and now it's moved to the city being actively involved in the process?
Oh yeah, you see that definitely across the metro, and even with us, that the cities need to take a more active role into things, and to be a partner with the people that you choose to develop with. No longer is it barred up the door and keep the developers away. It's,
Right.
You need to work with quality people and develop good projects that make sense for the city.
Now, what kinds of new businesses have come into Osseo over the last year or so?
Yeah, we've had a number of from restaurants to retail to and people and you even talk to some of the old line businesses and say, how are things doing? What's the word on the street?
Right.
You always kind of get that, and everyone said things. They've seen a lot more traffic, a lot more people through their doors. So they're very happy with the direction, the way things are going, and because the businesses are doing some joint marketing and things to bring people to, and then be able to kind of play off each other with some different businesses. So things have it's you can see downtown's a lot more vibrant than it was 8-9 years ago when I first got into this.
Now, part of the whole process is negotiating contracts, and I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about this because of the fact that I don't think we've ever talked about it, and you just finished a contract, putting together a contract for your police department,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
So
police
maybe you
contract.
can talk a little bit about the process and how it happens in the city.
Yeah, with the police contract, we have a risk management, it's called, group. That's 2 council members are on that group. And they sit down with the city administrator and then the union steward and the union rep, and just talk through the points of the contract. And like all contract negotiations, everybody's going to come in the table with a different want out of it.
Right.
So again, you got to kind of work through what everybody kind of wants, and then you kind of understand what everybody's points are, and then you try to fashion a deal that satisfying to both parties. So it's a give and take process, but it's all part of the process.
And about how long did it take to negotiate this recent contract that you've just finished with the police department, roughly?
6 months.
So
it's pretty lengthy. It's points, and then go back and kind of figure and tweak it and come back together, and so there's a lot of meetings going back and forth, and be able to discussions, and and then go back and regroup and lick your wounds and go back at it.
Yeah, and there's different parts of the contract that have to be negotiated that aren't the money part, right?
Oh yeah.
What are some of those areas?
It's the way paid time off or sick leave, and it's holidays, disciplinary steps and actions, and what documentation, and it's just all little things that are
lots of details.
That are all in there. That ultimately, that's something bad happens. You got to go to that and say, well, okay, these are the steps we need to take.
So I just thought if we talked a little bit about what happens in the process, people would understand a little bit more about what's going on. And then how many groups do you have that you have contracts with? You have the police. What other groups do you have to negotiate contracts with?
The department heads
Okay.
have contracts, but you know that those are just directly, you know, with those
Right,
individuals, not with a group.
one-on-one kind of
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah.
So what about with the fire department?
They're all paid on call.
Oh,
so
okay.
They're
So
totally
really, the
separate.
police is the only contract
Yeah.
that needs the negotiating and the process.
Correct. Yeah.
The other ones need the same thing, but on a more
But they're more of an
limited-
employment
right,
contract
right,
with the
right.
individual, not with a
Right.
group of individuals. Yep.
Because the city budget, a significant portion goes to your employees, right?
Yes, yep. And if you break it down, that's year over year, that's probably where most of your increases will come
Right,
from,
right.
is pay increases for individuals throughout the budget, which, I mean, the cost of living, I mean, everything goes up.
Right,
You know,
right.
so, I mean, can't have people static,
Right.
you know, so.
Or you won't be
Won't
able
have
to
people.
attract very good people. No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to balance. So
Yeah.
most cities don't want to be the most generous, but you
Yeah.
also don't want to be at the other end of the
Yeah.
line. And now let's move on to updating people about the Osseo water tower, because it's a very visible part of your city.
Yes.
How old is your water tower again?
It's 102 now.
Ah, because each time we talk about it, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
aged a little more.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what has happened briefly that's leading to
Where we
where
are
you
today.
could make a decision about its future, because
Yeah.
you aren't even to that point yet,
Yeah,
right?
no, it's been a long process. You know, I mean, the water tower is such a significant part
Right.
of Osseo's history. You know, I mean, way back, you know, when it was first erected, it was really the only one around.
Well, yeah,
You know,
right.
they made a large investment into having water, and
Uh-huh.
I mean, that what allowed then the Osseo Police Department to form.
Uh-huh.
And then they were able to service, from Osseo, they used to service Plymouth
Oh,
from
wow.
the fire department. They've
Yeah.
got some of their old records on fire calls
Right.
that go all the way down to Plymouth, you know, so. But, and it's kind of stood there and kind of been a beacon of the community.
Right.
And, you know, it's not used anymore. It's
Yeah.
not non-functional, you know, because a number of years ago, I mean, before I was around, we made a decision our water comes from Maple Grove.
Right.
You know, so we buy our water from Maple Grove, and but it just has been there. A couple of years ago, we looked at, you know, what do we need to do to kind of preserve this,
Right.
and it comes down to the point of what's it going to cost,
Uh-huh.
and you know, and we had some preliminary studies done that were, you know, pretty expensive.
Uh-huh.
And you know, and then going through the process of exploring it, I think there may be some more grant opportunities and things
Uh-huh.
that will come up to, you know, once it's, you know, now it's on the National Historic Register. So what
Yeah,
we
now
did-
that took a little bit of time, right?
yeah, so that started a couple years ago. So then we had a, you know, a citizen group that was very active in
Uh-huh.
it, helped with the grant writing. You know, so we hire a consultant to write a report, and you know, go to the state, and then the state, I mean, a board after board
Right,
after
right,
had to approve
right.
it all the way up, and then now it was placed on the National Historic Register, and
Right.
then now we've applied for a grant to have a structural study done
Okay.
on it to see how much it'll cost to make sure just the structural integrity of it is
Sure.
still good enough to keep it standing, and then from there, kind of whatever our options are for repainting, rebranding, you know, what can we do to it? I mean, you look at,
Right.
there's other places around the country that have, you know, taken an old water tower and, you know, lit it up, repainted it, you know,
Oh,
did
yeah.
things that, you know, and so we're looking at some of that stuff to be able to make it, you know, kind of that icon of, you know, with Osseo, whether it's the city logo or you
Oh,
paint it or
sure.
light it, but then just, you know, so as people drive up and down 169 or
It's
610,
recognizable, right?
yeah, there's
Yeah.
Osseo, so.
And getting to be part of the National Historic
Register.
Register, I couldn't remember
Yeah.
the word, is important in being able to apply for different grants. I
Correct.
mean, it gives you the the wherewithal to say, yes, this is worthy of a grant
Yep.
to help.
Yeah,
So that you're waiting to find out about this one grant, but then once you find that out, then you still need to figure out how
much
one
it's gonna
might want
cost.
to, how much it's going to cost and how it might want to be paid for.
Yeah.
I mean, because there might be other grants and money available in that regard. So
Yeah.
it's still a long-term process
yeah,
before you come to some decision.
yeah.
There's a number of commissions in your city and different opportunities for citizens to get involved in the process. First, let's talk about what commissions you have that are ongoing in your city.
Oh, we've got, heritage preservation, there's, we have the planning commission, EDA, council, obviously. What else? There's some advisory boards.
Okay.
So I mean, there's a number of opportunities, and they're always looking for additional people. Because some people volunteer, but then life changes and something happens, or they have to move or do something, and and positions open up. So I mean, it's one of those things to always check. I would say, talk to Karen, up at the city hall, and she has a list of available opportunities that are there, and people can apply.
And basically, these different commissions and groups help do research and things for the council, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That you need information, and they can work on getting that for you.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, at the council level, I mean, you should be making executive decisions, and a lot of that fact finding is done. A lot of it's borne on the staff. So it's great to have the additional citizen help there to be able to kind of vet out some different opportunities to see whether how crazy they may seem.
Right.
But it's good to say you've looked at all these different options.
Right.
And from all of this information, we think this is the best decision. Then you can kind of review everything and say, yep, looks good.
And without the volunteers, you wouldn't have all that information. Now, for people to apply, they would work through a staff member. You mentioned a name.
Yep, Karen.
Karen.
Yep.
And then is there an application process?
Typically, you just write a letter.
Okay.
To, addressed to the mayor at the city hall.
Now, do most commissions meet every month, or are they staggered in how often they meet?
Yeah, I mean, some are as needed.
Okay.
Like planning commission is kind of when things are.
Right.
They're scheduled monthly, but they don't occur every month. Just based on when issues come up that need to be addressed. And then the planning commission get together. There was public safety advisory, but that's kind of wound down now.
Okay.
Into some other kind of smaller groups. But yeah, so I mean, some of them are, every other Monday, like the council, to, kind of as needed. Like the heritage preservation, they get together when, there's something to address.
So each of these groups, what's the best way for people to learn about what they actually do? Because people might be thinking, oh, I should give something back to my city, but how can they best figure out where they can plug themselves in?
It'd be on the website.
Okay.
They have all the commissions, and they can go through and read about what each of them are and kind of their task and what available positions are there.
And then their meeting dates would be publicized too, because they could go to commission meetings and see what happens.
Yep.
So it does take a lot of people to keep a city going. And it's important to have a process for that to happen. And so that now there's different groups that also need people, like your Lions Roar meetings.
Yep. Well, that's
That's
Lions,
a separate,
yep.
that's that group. You also need people for your volunteer fire department, right?
Yep. We're always looking for good people for the fire department.
Any other areas like that people could think about and consider?
I mean, we were just discussing last night. I mean, if we know a good gardener out there, I mean, we need some help with the flowers and planting boxes and things like that.
Right,
I mean,
right.
We said, is there a way we can have a bigger push for, residents to, if they want to come out and, weed and do the necessary things. That way we can help lower our cost, that we have to hire somebody to do all that work, So, I mean, there's a lot of those that, there's really no formal commission around right now, but be able to, reach out and get more people involved.
Oh, right, right.
And then, we had sports programs and art programs. I mean, those
right,
people
right.
can donate their time there to help the instructors. And I mean, there's a lot of different ways like that people can get involved if, they so choose.
So we will always want to encourage people to do that.
Definitely.
Or to think about it, because at
Yeah.
different points in your life, you might have time to do it, or you might not be able
Yeah.
to, but to keep that open in the back of your mind that your city needs you, they
Yeah.
need your resources. And one would think, and different cities are making beginnings in that stage, because as our culture ages, right, that there would be more people possibly available to be involved in the city. And how do you get them involved?
Yep.
With your senior citizen groups?
Yep.
Do you have any particular ways of reaching out to that group in Osseo?
We have, the senior citizens, they get together and they have bingo and
Okay.
coffee and things in the community center.
Right.
A couple of times a week. And then, we've added gentle chair exercise classes, and yoga has been very
right,
popular.
right.
So, I mean, we've had different programs like that again, get people involved and, out in the city and active. And then also, if we, need to reach them or, talk with them, I mean, at least, a lot of times they're, playing cards on Tuesday.
Right, right,
so.
right. Well, and then you have that trolley in the summertime
Yep.
for people.
Got the Osseo
Maybe
trolley.
tell a little bit about that. I think that's kind of cool. I haven't run across another city that does that.
Yeah, the Osseo trolley it's a golf cart that was donated to the city, and we've got a number, and if you need to ride anywhere in town, and obviously it can't leave the city limits because of regulations, but golf carts are a legal mode of transportation on the streets in Osseo. That if you need to get picked up to go to the grocery store to get your hair done or run a couple errands in town, then get a lift back. So you just call them up, and it's free to all residents in the city. So.
And that's run by volunteers, right?
Yep. Volunteer drivers. Yep.
Right.
Yep. And then the Public Works maintains it. But yeah.
Now, you have a festival that we've referred to across the years, the Lions Roar, right?
Yeah.
It's your town festival, right?
Yep.
Because all of our cities have different times of the year.
Yep.
And when will your Lions Roar be taking place?
Yeah. Lions Roar is always the weekend after Labor Day.
Okay. Which is the 8th and the 9th this year, I
think so.
if I wrote it down right.
I think that's right.
Right. Tell us about what's involved in that.
It's the Lions Roar is, almost like Christmas Day. Because I mean, it's just a really great, fun day.
Yeah.
And it starts off Friday night.
Okay.
And typically they'll try to have the football game.
Okay.
Around that. We have bands in town.
Sure.
And then the beer garden, and then different groups have food there. The Lions have all their great grills, turkey legs and all that. And then Saturday when it really starts, cranking up. We have we have a 5K race that goes through town that is put on by the Osseo cross country team, and so that starts at the track and then loops around the city and ends right along the park. So people are, Central Avenue, so people are already lining up for the parade. So so you got some spectators there. So then we have the parade that always starts at noon, and the parade is, usually a lot of times it's a couple hours long.
Right.
It's a pretty big
it's
parade.
A pretty good size.
Yeah, and then again in Boardboom Park we have the craft fair going on, and then right after the parade you'll have the bands going and the beer garden, and then you'll have the food stands there. Then they'll have like inflatables there for the kids. A lot of times the fire department will have displays.
Oh, right.
This year, Red Savoy's, that just moved into town this year, the pizza place, they have, I guess they're having a pizza eating contest. So then they've got some other, like a kids corral with kids activities, and there's things of whatever age, whatever you like, there's something, and then they'll have a car show after the parade on Central Avenue. So that'll be there between, so you can go to the crafting, car show, the bands, the beer garden, the inflatables, kids area. So whatever you want, it's all day, and then throughout the day there's different bands, and then kind of all culminates on Saturday night, and then it's amazing the effort that than the Lions do setting it all up.
Oh, right.
And then, come Saturday night, it's tear it all down. We bring the street sweepers through on Sunday
Right.
morning, and you couldn't even tell that anything went on. So, but I mean, it's just a great way, and it bring a lot of class reunions typically.
Oh, okay.
From Osseo
Right.
over the years have been on that weekend to bring people back. So you get people. Oh, yeah, I've been to Osseo in 10 years. I mean, it just brings so many different people into town, and I mean, it's just a great day. I mean, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's important to have things that kind of celebrate your community, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a few minutes left, so I thought I'll let you just talk a little bit about what are some of your hopes for Osceo's future? Looking forward, now we've been talking about all the nitty gritty that's happening now. What are some hopes that you have for Osceo's future?
I think, hopes, to have it continue to be financially viable. That was one thing that people worried about, when I first was elected.
Right.
Are we going to be Maple Grove, or are we going to be Brooklyn Park? But there's such a unique hometown character and charm of that city. It would just pain me that would go away.
Right.
And we said back in the day, I said, we have one of two choices. Either we need to go to somebody on bended knee, pay down debt, and then somebody take us over, or we need to do the hard decisions, what it takes to stand on your own.
Right.
And at that point, we said, we're gonna figure it out. And that's and really the goal. I mean that I've had everybody in the council. It's making the decisions what's best for the city long term. And sometimes the long term decision, people don't like it today.
Oh, right.
But it's what's best for the city to put yourself in better financial position in the future than you are today, which will help ease everything again. Be able to continue our development that we've done downtown. Building density on the core, again, be able to support the businesses and keep them thriving. Bring in some different. We still have some opportunities with some storefronts in Osseo to do something unique and special, and I mean continue to look for those types of uses. Really make it that destination.
Oh, right.
Of kind of the Northwest, because I mean we have something unique, and we just really have to preserve that and make it better than what it is, and just continue to move it forward.
Right, and it takes time and effort on the part of the people that get involved in the city to do that, right?
Yeah.
It's not a short-term thing.
Oh, no, you can't make too many short-term decisions on a city level.
But it sounds like you're positioning Osseo in a good place to move forward, right?
That's our goal.
Right. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your experience with our audience out there. And remember, if you're from Osseo, if you have questions about anything we've talked about tonight, be in contact with Mayor Poppe or with the rest of your city council people. We're glad that you've been with us, and we encourage you to come back. Bye.